All right, so we're going to jump right into a recap, little interview behind the scenes with the European Hornets. So we are on European Hornet recap. We have Scooby and who are you joined with, Scooby?
I am here with Rishai on the waiter.
Hello.
On the screen, the lead for this flight was Oz. Then, kind of as we're taxiing out, we have Hollywood, who is on the right wing, me as number 3 on the left wing, and then taxiing out behind us, we have Squeeze as number 4, number 5 is Borg, and number 6 is Swiss. But they couldn't make it due to kind of being Friday night.
Was this your first performance at VFAT?
For me personally, as a team, yes, and I believe only actually no, our lead Oz and Borg had previous teams that they'd flown at VFAT with. Borg was with the X51 team, and then came to us in kind of the summer, and then Oz was one of the founders of the team.
And yeah, it was my first show, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the European Hornets' first appearance. So, what can we expect within the next 40 minutes of this show, then, guys?
Well, there are a few dope maneuvers. There's quite a lot of diamond and solo stuff. We received feedback that some of the solo stuff could have been a bit better, but that's something that we hope to improve on for the next show.
We try to make it as dynamic as we could. Try to involve both the diamond and the solos. Try to keep them in front of the show as much as we could. And yeah, as our first show, we're quite happy with how we've done, and there's always room for improvement. So we're looking forward to the upcoming season.
You're flying the ED Hornet?
That is correct. There are no mods in it, just plain and simple, out of the box.
So, when did you actually originally start the team?
I believe the team was started back in the VFAT of 2018, and
Yes.
it was Hollywood, Colander, and Oz who were flying as 3-ship, and they kind of expanded into 5, then 6, then 9 when we were flying.
It started off with the three of them started doing a bunch of flying on AO, and then they were like, yeah, let's do a team. Then I came along, everyone else came along. Then we just kind of started growing. Then a couple changes here and there, and yeah, that's where the team ended up.
Nice.
Unfortunately, on the day we couldn't get our narration to work with the streaming, but it kind of still works without the narration.
Well, nobody else noticed anything, so.
There were a few minor hiccups that you may or may not see once you look at it back again, but
Uh-huh.
if you're looking closely enough.
Yeah, guys, and as Granelli just said in the Twitch chat, feel free to ask any question.
Online asks how many hours you guys have in the Hornet.
Yeah. Too many.
We have quite a bit because we don't just fly during trainings. We also fly a lot on AO, on our own, and fly together as a team. Usually, in the on the AO is usually where we hang out a lot, and we keep flying and flying, seeing them on for hours.
Right, if we do the maths, we have 3 practice sessions a week, all of them about 2 hours. So it's about 6 hours a week, 6 times 52. Googling. 312 hours in just training as a team. And then put on top of that all of the hours that you put in just kind of flying alone and doing everything that you
Just
want.
having fun.
Yeah.
And on AO, there's a lot of hours on AO as well.
Yeah, you guys go on AO a lot.
A lot, yes we do.
Is there any inspiration behind the demonstration you're doing?
I think we kind of took aspects of the Blue Angel show because it was just kind of, they use the same jets as us and they kind of know the capability, so we took inspiration but tried not to copy them too much, just to make it our own and just to not look like copycats. In the beginning we went for the European flag, but that ended up being blue and yellow and didn't look the greatest and didn't look that different compared to the Blue Angel skin, so that's why it is black and yellow.
And are there going to be paint updates next year that we can expect to see, or not?
Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. The paint was done by Squeeze, and he might do it, he might not. It's a
Okay.
surprise.
And so you have a diamond and 2 solos, is that correct?
That is correct.
Am I actually gonna fly next season? If I remember correctly, no. Not gonna be flying with the European Hornets just yet. Still gonna stay as the narrator. Probably due to my I guess
The time zone.
time zone as well as not having the right equipment. I don't
Okay.
have any
Donations.
head tracking or anything like that, and I'm using a stick with a pretty bad dead zone, so yeah, it's just not gonna be right for me to fly with these people just yet.
So someone asked in the chat, why the F-18 versus the other DCS module?
I think it was just a common favorite. A lot of the pilots loved the F-18. Oz wanted the F-18, but actually, our true aircraft that we wanted to take on was the F-16. We wanted to fly Vipers, but obviously that wasn't out just yet, so we stuck with the Hornet. So that's usually that was what happened. Yeah.
Well, for a first show, you guys are looking nice and tight.
Thank you. The rejoins weren't the best this time, but I hope they will get better. And for Isaac, who was asking in the chat, I believe there are spots open, but I'm not sure. I believe the team wants to perform at Burning Lake, so I'm not sure what they're going to be doing.
So you guys are in the Delta much sooner than expected.
Yeah.
I like the contrast of the smoke. I guess the solos are running the contrast red.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. This is technically not part of the opening just yet. The opening you will see in a moment after the next maneuver. this is sort of still a couple of opening maneuvers before the actual, break and the solo split off. Coming up next will be the Delta roll.
Yeah, the big hurdle flying the Hornet, yeah, that's probably a tricky one. It's relatively easy compared to some of the other aircraft like the L-39 and everything else, but...
I guess it would be that it's constantly changing due to updates. So we may go in one day and be like, oh, this flies slightly different. And that's the thing that I can think of, other than a mod, which is, fixed unless you update it yourself.
And I think Fluffy's up there waiting in lobby 5 if we can drag him in. Hi, Fluffy.
Hello.
Hello, Fluffy.
So what position do you fly?
I flew spare pilot, but during practices I flew right.
Right, okay.
We had one of our pilots go on kind of an extended break over kind of his hockey dreams. He wanted to become a hockey player, but he decided to drop out from the team. And then a couple of days before VFAT, he said, my hockey dreams have kind of gone. I'm back in Germany and I want to go fly VFAT. That is him on the right way.
Yep.
That's a nice delta roll there.
Many hours put into that, with constant rolls and loops.
Yeah, I remember the last few weeks before VFAT. I think we practiced it at least one time a week where we did it like 5 or 10 times in a row. Just to get it perfect.
I think all of us new teams can relate. Just doing it over and over again and making sure you get it right every.
Yeah, the next maneuver is when we technically open the show. That's when the solos do their cross break and the diamond will pull up into a diamond loop. So this is sort of to mark the opening of the actual show.
Okay.
I believe that for the next season the turnarounds are going to get quite a bit shorter because we were contemplating it, but this was a couple of weeks before VFAT and we wanted to shorten up our display, but we didn't really want to change anything, so the turnarounds were done at maybe 1.5G and they're just quite long, so that should be gone for next season, hopefully. Just
Yeah, I think sometimes when you do wing overs during turns, it can be quicker as well. And I see the solos also have coloured smoke, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, they take the red smoke. The solos, just the solos. Yeah, that's a nice touch, so that when you actually see the smoke from the ground, you instantly know, okay, these are the solos coming in. And if you see white smoke, you know that's one of the delta.
Yeah, you're able to identify between the two.
That's one of the problems that we face not having a modded aircraft. We can just switch the smoke up.
What kind of hardware do you guys fly with?
Yeah, I believe it's a mixture between VR and tracker. So I believe most of us use the Thrustmaster Warthog. A few of us have pedals, a few of us don't. A few of us have VR, a few of us don't. I believe there's 2 of the 6 that fly in tracker, then the rest fly in VR. But I don't think there's anything else on top of that.
Nice hit from the solos. So when you guys go up and practice, you run the whole show?
It depends if we want to practice a certain maneuver and improve on that. If we don't really have a preference, then we'll go practice the show and gather notes as to what needs to be done for the next practice, and then try and work on that.
I think usually we have at least 2 of the 3 practices where we did the whole show.
What is that a week or just in general?
Per week.
Okay.
This was our 360 close, but due to not wanting to copy the Blue Angels, the slot looks slightly out of position, so it doesn't quite look as close, but it felt as close.
Well, it looks pretty good to me. The wingmen look like they're almost touching.
The Dark Sound is a long story that we're not going to get into.
During the display, are the solos in a separate Discord channel to you, or are they in the same one as the diamond?
It's the same.
They have to differentiate on their own, because usually Borg, who's leading the solos, and Oz, who's leading the diamond, will kind of talk over each other sometimes, so they have to stay vigilant and make sure they're listening to the right person. But you can usually tell them apart, because Borg has slightly different calls.
It's a lot easier having them having different accents as well.
Yeah.
With our team being from all over Europe, you get Oz being Turkish and then Bull being Norwegian, so it's quite easy to differentiate even though they're in the same channel.
Yeah, of course.
I believe everyone in the team is from the European region except for me, so.
It's a nice trail formation there.
This was our trail diamond loop. I believe we had some issues with going over the crowd and our quality flight, so we were a bit nervous about going over the crowd, so we approached from behind them to the left, which doesn't really give the best angle, but
Looks fine to me. Nice smooth transition.
I don't think that works.
That's a nice hit.
Yeah, I believe the solos do practice on their own, separate from the diamond. So like they organize their own thing and they go and practice themselves.
Yeah,
so
that
they
sounds
do a lot of
sensible to me.
practice. This is Borg from the invert to invert. And then he rolls out. And then Swish should be coming in together with the diamond.
Yeah.
So this maneuver you're watching right now went through a couple of changes, especially with how the diamond spread out in the spacing and stuff like that. Just to make it look a little more intense, I guess.
And what maneuver is this? What's it called?
It's called the tunnel.
Okay, is a jet gonna fly through it?
Yes, Swiss comes from the other side and flies through all of the jets.
Slightly
Nice.
fast.
Yeah.
Would imagine being the slot pilot seeing that coming. And there we go.
Fortunately, there is no FAA in Europe, so we should be fine.
Pretty sure you had a
There's
waiver.
a CAA. There's a CAA.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't watch this.
Yeah, what Borg just did there was actually a sneak pass, meant to be. Good old inverted flyby.
Do you turn pumps on for that, or is it not long enough?
In the stock F-18, you just get in like unlimited inverted fuel, so you can just fly forever inverted.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that they've modelled it yet. If they have, they've done a very bad job.
And what do you call this formation? Is this arrowhead?
This one's the Concorde fly past.
Concorde, okay.
Either Concorde or Swan, depending on what you
Yeah.
call it and where you know it
Yeah.
from.
We call that Swan, but I think other teams call it arrowhead and Concorde. I see why you called it Concorde though.
We had a small smoke mishap here just out of nerves. There you go.
It can be very nervous on your first display. Was everyone nervous? I'm guessing so.
Yeah, we also had some problems right before the stream that made it a little more stressful.
Oh, the VFAT curse, huh?
Yeah.
It's a real thing, I believe it.
That's part of why we have no innovation.
Something always goes wrong last minute. It happens every time. And that's a nice heart there.
Yeah, you guys are flying very well for the nerves and technical issues, and it seems like everybody has their own dosage of it in some way, shape, or form.
As we were taxing out, I thought I was going into cardiac arrest.
Yeah. Some people get more nerves than others.
I think once you get into the air, it's all fine. Up until that point, it's just... not fun.
Yeah, because when you're in the air, the only thing you do is just focus on what it tells you. It's just an...
You get sweaty palms and not the best grip on the joystick sometimes. And this is box formation, is it?
Yeah, box
This is
formation
the
into a crossing
crisscross.
break.
Oh, this is a break, okay. Oh, that's so nice. Quite unique, actually.
I believe we've only ever had one accident with that when it was first being done.
Yep.
Mom, spaghetti.
A slight mishap. Swiss would have gotten closer much earlier.
was a little
But
late.
if
That's
it
good.
worked out, then Swiss would actually be between Borg's tails. Remember that?
The old tail sniff.
Just getting there, yeah.
Again, a few gaps in the display that need to be worked out, but this was our travel to Diamond Pass.
This maneuver actually changed. It used to be something else. Then it was removed and changed to the Trail to Diamond Pass.
And that's right echelon, or is it? That's trail, yeah?
Yeah.
That's right echelon for a second. Okay. Very nice. And high alpha.
Yeah, then they go into a break with full burners.
Well, guys, so far I've seen no mistakes through the display. It's looking very clean. Flows are very well.
Thank you. A few of the kind of turn runs could be a bit faster, but everything went all right as such. There was a little Easter egg if you want to go watch this back and try and figure it out, but I doubt you will.
Has it already happened?
Yes.
Can you give us a hint?
No.
Oh, I remember the Easter egg now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone got it. I want to know now.
It took a while before the team actually realized it as well. So
I realised it mid-maneuver, so...
yeah, but that's you.
What maneuver?
Loops, plural. And that's all I can give you. The team are now kind of rejoining to set up for, I believe it's the Tornado.
Yeah.
Both the solos are going to roll around the formation at around 350 knots and try and keep in time with each other, which is something that we found very
So we've got
difficult
all
to do.
six back together now doing it. Okay. Oh, and they're going opposite directions. That's unique. Nice.
And they rejoin for the final break.
That nice and clean.
They've practiced that quite a bit. It's not
Yeah, it's-
very easy.
It's quite easy to kind of over-correct at that point after rolling for so long, and you get wobbly, but they did it quite nice.
I believe for the full time they were in full bonus, just keep up with us, and usually they build up a load of speed on the way back down, so sometimes we have problems with overshooting and undershooting and just everything in between.
Yeah, it's all about the ailerons and the power control. Loads of people do it and put, you know, a large amount of elevators into it, and the elevators do slow down quite a lot. So it's more about the roll instead of the pull.
We're coming up to the maneuver that pretty much closes the show, and then, like how we started, we have Scooby actually doing some maneuvers while the pilots set up for the landing.
I see some airshow cones, and these used for the lead to get his bearings and kind of figure out where he's for like
Yeah.
lineups and things.
They were supposed to be taken out, but we just kind of left them in. There were a lot more, and there were massive smokestacks. Never got out.
Nice, pretty nice.
Again, a few of the nerves got to the smoke system.
It's not that noticeable. Does anyone in the chat have any questions for the pilots? We have Fluffy, Shy, and Scooby currently talking to us.
So now we're watching Scooby.
This was kind of put in as a filler, so the pilots were going to set themselves up for a formation landing. We had some issues with Oz landing and not getting his approach quite right, so we've decided to let our number 4 take the lead for this. And it takes quite a while to get set up and get all the flaps down full and gear down and everything set up. So I'm kind of flying around doing a few grenades and then heading back off to rejoin.
Yeah, it's always quite hard to get the approach right when you're leading a formation landing, because usually when you're landing you make all these corrections and get the perfect landing. But when you're leading it, you know, you've got people on your wing, those corrections can no longer happen, really. So you have to make sure you get it perfect at the very start.
During our landing, we have 2 sections where 4, 5, and 6 are the ones landing first, and then lead, and the 2 inner wings are the ones landing last.
So we have a question in the chat. How old is the team? The team was formed in late 2018, right about there. So probably about a year old. But this fully completed team with all 6 pilots, maybe around 7 months.
So you only got all six pilots about 7 months after you created the team. Well, that's quite a long time, but you have to take into account how hard it is to get 6 dedicated pilots.
Yeah, and also we had to do some changes to the show, and I think that the last changes were done about 4 months before the show.
Yeah. Especially from Europe, actually. I know that sometimes in Europe the connections can be a bit weird compared to America with the internet and stuff.
And then you've got 4 or 5 different countries that people are in.
Yeah, no, actually I've seen a big rise of European teams actually over the past couple of years. It used to be quite American dominated in a way, but I'm starting to see a lot of European teams. So there's more competition, guys. Let's see a great demo for next.
Interesting story. The flight before VFAT, we were warming up about 2 hours before. As I went in to come do this rejoin from like 400 knots to maybe 150 as we were landing, I decided to rejoin a bit later, and I ended up kind of planting myself in the tree line before the runway.
I mean, the exact same thing happened before our VFAT display, to be honest. We were doing a formation landing, literally the day before VFAT, our last practice, and we crashed. And Gorlo in the chat here says, solid demo and very impressive.
Thank
Some
you.
other compliments as well.
Thank you, Gorlo.
Dreadnought as well. Some of the VBA guys talking. And this is a double formation landing, is it? You got 2 sets of formation.
Yeah, so it's the same sections during the departure, except they're switched. So 4, 5, and 6 land first, and then 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Sounds good. Mr. Maverick says, where's Borg? Well, it's quite late right now in Europe, so I think most of the pilots are asleep.
Yeah, I talked to him earlier. I think he's asleep.
Dreadnought says, formation landings are nuts, and I have to agree, they are pretty awesome.
I'm going to have to correct you there, Maverick. It's Japanese whiskey.
Solid demo, guys. Nice flight.
That's the end of our demo.
Really good, really good. Does anyone have some last questions for the team? I think we've gone over quite a lot, actually. I can't think of anything else, really. Dreadnought says, what's the most difficult maneuver in this? Okay.
The one we struggled with the most was the
Yeah, probably the Delta roll or something like that. We did a lot of practice on the Delta roll to try and improve it. When I came to the team, I couldn't fly either left or right. I couldn't fly rolls, loops, anything. Just a lot of training.
and the people on the team were really supportive throughout it. So it made it easier to actually put in the time to practice everything.
I believe the team plans to go to Burning Lake, but that depends whether we get accepted.
There's a lot of competition this year for Burning Lake. Only 8 slots available.
Mm-hmm.
Dreadnought says Delta roll takes a lot of practice. I've never actually done a Delta roll, but you guys, and I'm sure you can agree.
Having not flown
Yeah.
the outer wings, I don't know how it is, but
It's
I think
especially
it's-
tougher for the outer wings because they need to, push and pull respectively to keep in level with the entire diamond. So it's really harsh on the outer wings.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it only gets worse the further out you go, and it's just really hard to keep it in. I've tried it before. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's really easy, and also for the since you have people both on the outside and the inside, you get a bit of extra nerfs from, which can get you.
I'm not sure of our full team schedule as to when we're going to be flying, but we aim for Burning Lake. I don't know any plans further than that.
If not, wings over to Bleaksea, I guess.
Possibly not.
Okay.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We really
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you
Really
for
good
having us,
talking to you
Granelli.
guys.
Yeah, thank you, Kirby and Granelli.
We have 2 more days on the partner push. We will be back tomorrow, 1700 GMT estimated with some of the virtual red arrows, and we'll do a nice little recap with them, get some insight with that. And Sunday, we're still cooking some stuff up, but I promise you we will have something for Saturday and Sunday. We appreciate your support. We love you all. Happy New Year. We'll see you tomorrow around 1700.